Corrcheck is a measuring device for assessing the quality of corrugated cardboard. Using Corrcheck, the washboard effect of corrugated board and the single-face flute can now be measured up to 2.1 mm for the first time. This means that conclusions can be drawn about the corrugating rolls, and the creasing quality in corrugated board can also be assessed. Corrcheck is a mobile camera-based measuring device that uses special software to analyze and give a quality assessment of the washboard effect, the single-face flute, and the creasing and scoring in the corrugated board. A camera is built into the hardware of the Corrcheck measuring device, which takes images of the test item and transmits these to the software. The software can then analyze the data. A record can be issued for each analysis. Where do the benefits of Corrcheck lie? The washboard effect occurs when the undulations of the flute hollows can be felt on the liner paper. The result is a washboard-like surface on the outer liner, which has a negative effect on the printed result. The effect can be measured with Corrcheck, and conclusions drawn about production. Appropriate countermeasures can be introduced where necessary, such as reducing the amount of glue applied, using a higher quality liner paper, or adjusting the relative humidity conditions. When measuring the single-face flute, that is the flute profile, the mechanical alignment of the corrugating rolls can be checked. Thus, the operator side, the drive side and the center can be compared with each other, and the corrugating rolls adjusted accordingly. In this way, it is possible to draw conclusions about wear on the corrugating rolls. So how does Corrcheck work in practice? Basic settings. Firstly, select the basic software settings. This includes the language, which measuring system, how many decimal places, whether the preceding measurement is indicated, and whether the picture should be software orientated. The form of the report can be set under report, and you can store your company logo and company name here. Likewise, you can specify whether the decimal places should be separated. Adjusting the standard. Now we come to the standards. There are already two standard databanks stored in the software. One databank conforms to the specifications in DIN 55468-1. The other default databank is more usage-based. Values can be adjusted in both databanks, and new types added or deleted. In our example, we amend the standard for flute size E by adding the washboard effect and the tolerance. Now, let's look at measuring the washboard effect on corrugated board using the Corrcheck measuring device. After updating the camera, select the type of surface. The choices are white, gray or brown. To measure the washboard effect, the WBE tool must be selected. Now, before we start measuring, we still have to choose the type of fluting from the databank. The pre-entered maximum washboard effect is automatically displayed along with the tolerance. Measurements that are not within tolerance are displayed in red. The measured values can subsequently be issued in the form of a report. Next we come to the measurement of the single-face flute. After updating the camera, select the type of surface. The options are white, gray or brown. To measure the flute profile, the relevant tool must be selected. Now, before we start measuring, we still have to select the type of fluting from the databank. The values from the individual measuring can now be transferred to the statistics and can subsequently be output in the form of a report. Software functions. Creasing. Here too, the type of surface can be selected as usual. The options are white, gray or brown. To measure the creasing, the tool measuring creasing profiles must be selected. Since creasing is wider in corrugated cardboard than in solid cardboard, the photographic record of creasing is made up of several images. The creasing depth, creasing width, and creasing width at half height, plus the symmetry and cavity, are determined by measurement and then displayed. If required, the values shown can then be issued as a report. Corrcheck is a tested measuring device. Validity of initial calibration. 2 years from date of manufacture. A test master is supplied with every measuring device. The measurement values are attached to the test master. The user can test the device at any time by referring to these nominal values. You will see how this works afterwards. The Corrcheck measuring device can be recalibrated after 2 years. The testing procedure is started in the software, under Device, Testing. The values shown on the test master are checked against the pre-completed values and entered if applicable. The test master is then checked against the Corrcheck measuring device. If the values agree, the testing can be documented by means of a certificate. CITO Corrcheck. So don't guess, measure,